Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bashanah Shai Bashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops of Connecticut. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, among the heathen nations that look like the heathen nations. And to the Akwath that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone of Chicago. And this lesson is going to be about the whoredoms of Israel. The two sisters, the two adulterous sisters, referring to the northern and the southern kingdom. I'm going to read from Ezekiel, the 23rd chapter, and then probably read some of the curses. But, let me play a little bit of this video because the woman in America, one of the reasons why we're having such a hard time is there's a lot of brothers. Let me just start again. The motivation behind this video was just, conversation with a brother and the things that a lot of brothers have been going through with their wives and their women. And, there's a lot of adultery being committed by these women. And it really doesn't matter. I've said it before. If you please them sexually, if these women just can't be happy here and they just can't pair bond because they've been with too many men. I watched the video, and in this video, the guy was talking about, he was warning men about things to avoid when you're dating a woman. All right. And he spoke about pair bonding and a couple other things. But one of the things that stood out was when he said, beware of one of the things that he said that stuck out with me was when he said, beware of a woman that smokes. Because there's a woman who's already making very foolish and unwise decisions. Generally doesn't really care about her health and generally lives a very risque lifestyle. A lot of women like that. Well, a lot of women that smoke, people that smoke in general, not just women but men too, they will have unprotected sex with strangers. They make a lot of really bad decisions, especially when you do when you're doing something that actually kills people, makes people sick or ruins their health. All right, and you willfully do something like that, and I thought about it. I was like, wow, you're right. He was right. And then he also brought up the fact, he said too, was dating women with children already. All right, when you're dating women with children, what that really means in a nutshell is that she will be your number one. She's your woman. You love her, but you will never be her number one. Her children will always come before you. Point blank, period. And then you'll hear all kind of excuses why, oh, you're so unmanly for saying that and blah, 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 blah. Shut up. All right? Because it's just, quite frankly, it just simply isn't fair for you to make her the number one thing in your life, but then you can never be the number one thing in her life. All right? Her children will always come before you. All right? No matter what. Even if her children contribute nothing to her well-being in any way, form, or fashion, or their own well-being, that could all be coming from you. You will never be her number one or her focus. All right? Then you also have the exes, or the ex or the exes to deal with. Some women are comfortable to sit up and talk about their former man with their man and think it's okay. Because the most precious gift that a woman can give to a man is her hymen. It's like Elder Big Gad said last time I saw him about a week or so ago. He talked about how he's never had sex. He's only had intercourse. And I was like, damn, that's heavy, man. All right? Because sex is actually when you cut in the hymen, meaning you're the first man to enter into her. All right? And you got a lot of men that are my age, or they're close to my age. Well, I would say that are younger than me, maybe, because a lot of men my age actually had virgins. But when you start looking at men in their 40s, in their 30s, in their 20s, that's just not happening with them.
Told your parents.
I slept with 2 guys.
What's something you've never told your parents?
I slept with 2 guys in one night.
Holy sh! In one night?
One night.
Was it good at least?
It was all right.
You trying to sleep with one tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, let's go. Perfect. What's something you've never told your parents?
I slept with my friend's dad for 4 months.
You did a what?
I slept with my friend's dad for 4 months.
Stop it. Get some help.
What's your craziest confession?
Craziest confession. Well, last night, I one guy, and then I came back to the club, another guy.
Whoa! Damn!
And then I saw my ex, and I followed him back to his apartment and threw eggs at his apartment.
What's your craziest New Year's
Wow.
confession?
I had a threesome with my best friend's ex.
What's his name? What's your ex's name?
So his name is Trevor Naylor. I love you. Please forgive me.
Ladies,
Wow.
What's something you?
That's my man's. That dude is hilarious too. But wow. See, let me play that one more time. See, you have to get the premise of why I'm gonna tell you another story, and then I have to bring out the scriptures. But it was necessary to build to this situation, to build this up, so you understand where I'm coming from with this.
You never told your parents.
I slept with 2 guys in one night.
Holy sh! In one night?
One night.
Was it good at least?
It was all right.
You trying to sleep with one tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, let's go. Perfect. What's something you've never told your parents?
I slept with my friend's dad for 4 months.
You did a what?
I slept with my friend's dad for 4 months.
Stop it. Get some help.
What's your craziest confession?
Craziest confession. Well, last night, I one guy, and then I came back to the club, another guy.
Whoa! Damn!
And then I saw my ex, and I followed him back to his apartment and threw eggs at his apartment.
So she followed him back to his apartment and threw eggs at his apartment. And see, when you read the curses, matter of fact, let's go into some of these curses. It talked about how our women were going to be this way. All right. As a matter of fact, before I go to the curses, let me go to Jeremiah. Let's go to Jeremiah first and read some of that. This is Jeremiah 3:1. And it reads, they say, if a man put away his wife, and she go from him and become another man's, shall he not return unto her again? Shall not that land be greatly polluted? Because a husband is a planter. He plants his seed. All right. So once a foreign seed is planted into that fertile soil, into that hymen that was broken by the husband, it's actually polluted. All right. But thou hast played the harlot with many lovers, yet return again to me, saith Yahweh. So, it's funny too, because I've seen and been in a situation where a woman will do this sort of thing and then expect you to take her back. Or then you attempt to take her back and her attitude never changes. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. It's not the wisest thing to do. Once they've most cases they were defiled before you got to them. Especially these women who wrap their heads and have Hebrew names and call themselves believing in Yahweh Bashem Shai. Many of them I've found they're worse than some of the women that's in the world. All right, because they know better. Yet they'll do these things anyway. All right, so like the scripture says, brothers, don't marvel Marvel not if she trespass against thee. But in Jeremiah, jumping down to verse 6, it says, Yahweh said also unto me in the days of Josiah the king, hast thou that which backsliding Israel have done? She is gone up from every high mountain unto every green tree, and have played the harlot. So the men of Israel, all right, this was a punishment unto you. This is why we go through this. We turned our backs on our power. So part of the punishment is that he have our women, and this woman right here clearly is not our women, all right? But just women in general, just saying. But for our women to act like these women of the world, okay? So that's part of our punishment. And don't expect your woman or any woman to get right until the day of our power, point blank, period. We're too close to the end. I'm telling you now, just focus on doing this work, man. Like the scripture says, those who have wives be as if you have none. Because if your focus becomes this truth, you know, we have time. We're going to have all the time for women later on, after the fact. All right. You're not going to, and the way things are going, you're not going to have to need or want a woman. You're going to be fighting them off. All right. And a lot of these women that were once with men of the Lord, oh man, it's going to be so bad for them. And a lot of them are going to wish that they had not did whatever it is that they did. But it says, hast thou seen that which backsliding Israel have done? She has gone up from every high mountain under every green tree, and there have played the harlot. So the whore, man. So these women are laying up under and bending over and for all these different men. All right. I mean, there's so many videos where women are talking about penis sizes. I watched a video where it was literally about 30 seconds long, and a woman talked about, she talked about from a 2-inch rod to a 12-inch rod. All right. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. And anywhere from 6 to 8 was what she liked the most. Actually, from 7 to 8. See, 6 was okay. All right. She said anything over 8 was too much. That 12 was just painful. So I'm listening to this, and she said all this in like 30 seconds. I'm like, damn. So she had to go through a lot of dicks. And then the dude that was narrating the video, he said, well, because he's in Europe, so he's like, he said you're not gonna find anything over 6 here in Europe. That's not gonna happen. I just kind of laughed, but it's still sick because if the woman only knew that one penis, it would please her. Just saying, just putting that out there. All right, you wouldn't have a problem with a man with a 6-inch rod, 7-inch rod, if you had when you rode the carousel and ran across a couple 9s and 12s, And that's another thing. When you're dealing with this woman, when you're dealing with a woman, in the back of her mind, she's always thinking about that guy who blew her back out. All right. And don't, get your feelings hurt when she's looking at you, but she's taking it from you, but she's thinking of somebody else. All right. Don't get, I'm telling you, don't marvel not if she trespass against you, man. Verse 7, Jeremiah 3:7. And I said, after she had done all these things, turn thou unto me, but she returned not, and her treacherous sister Judah saw it. And I saw for all the causes whereby the backsliding Israel committed adultery, and I had put her away and given her a bill of divorce, yet her treacherous sister feared not, but went and played the harlot also. So there it is, man. All right. And yet for all this, her treacherous sister Judah have not turned unto me in her whole heart, but faintly, saith the Lord. And that's why we in such a mess now. All right. Our men and our women. So this is not, I'm not just woman bashing here. This is Israel bashing. All right. Because we truly are a filthy people who need to be cleaned up by the Lord. And those of you who are not trying to cleave unto the Lord and return, the Lord is going to get rid of you. He's going to truly get rid of you. All right. And let me go to Deuteronomy 28 now. And this is Deuteronomy 28 and 30. And it reads, Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build up an house, but thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and thou shalt not gather grapes thereof. All right. So, that's one of the reasons why Jake has worked very long and hard in America, but really collectively, there's a few Jakes that are extremely well to do, but they're so few and far in between. Collectively, Jake has nothing as a people. All right. As compared to these oppressors like the one you see on the screen, who was set up by her parents and given all this liberty to be, the little tramp that she is. All right. Put her to actually allow herself to be recorded saying this. Well, you know what? That also means she's allowed herself to be recorded doing other things too. But let's continue. Let me jump down to verse 64. And it reads, And Yahweh will scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth unto the other, and thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even of wood and stone. So our people literally are scattered among all people and look like the heathen nations. And I often say that in the beginning of every video that I do, because it's true. All right. That's part of the punishment, being scattered among the heathen. So basically the Lord, we rode the spiritual carousel running to all these other gods. And now our women are riding the carousel for real. All right. It's like being in a damn, I once heard a joke when the dude said something about a gay dude being happier than that type of person with a bag of dicks. All right. I imagine that type of person with a bag like that is probably pretty ecstatic, pretty happy about that. But nevertheless, yeah, these women on that carousel, man, and that is part of the punishment of Israel. Why this hookup culture that we live in, because that's exactly what she's explaining, what she's doing. All right. Let's go to verse 65. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither the sole of thy foot shall have rest, but Yahweh shall give thee a trembling heart and a failing eye and a sorrowful mind. Our people are sorrowful. Our people are sad and depressed, and we have no ease. We literally work till we die, or we're broke till we die, and we're sick with disease until we die. That's part of the punishment for being treacherous harlots. All right, which now that the men of the Lord on the highways and byways telling thee to turn back, now you have no more excuses. No more excuses. All right. So now I'm going to read Ezekiel and close this out. I'm going to read Ezekiel, the 23rd chapter, also talking about those two adulterous sisters, which is Judah and Israel, or Judah and Jerusalem, however, it both ways, which is talking about the northern and the southern kingdom, all right, which is the so-called Negroes and the so-called Latinos, Native Americans, so-called, all right. But I'm going to start, and I'm going to read in the NIV because it's so, the way they worded it, it makes it very clear what it's talking about. And even though it's figurative about us going after gods, the explicitness of these scriptures is also describing the physical. Because guess what? As I'm doing this video, there's some wicked man inside of somebody else's wife as I speak. All right. Some wives got a couple of people inside of them right about now. That's not their husband. It's Saturday night. It's Friday night. All right. And in the states that still allow you to go out and party without the restrictions, they best believe they're doing it. People are really taking advantage of it now because they're scared that they won't be able to do it for much longer. So I can only imagine what's going on in a lot of these southern states, what's going on in Florida, Texas, and the Carolinas, and next door right here. I'm a few minutes away from Indiana, literally, and up in Wisconsin. They clubs and bars are hopping. All right, a lot of Chicagoans are crossing the border to go to Wisconsin and to go to Indiana, just so they can do that. But this is Ezekiel, the 23rd chapter, and I'm going to start at verse 20. And it reads, "There she lusted after her lovers, whose genitals were like those of donkeys, and whose emissions were like those of horses." So they found some really, all right. "So you long for the lewdness of your youth, when in Egypt your bosom was caressed and your young breasts fondled." All right. I'm going to jump up to verse 25. It says, "And I will direct my jealous anger against you, and they will deal with you in fury. They will cut off your noses and your ears, and those of you who are left will fall by the sword." And it's funny how that happened to the northern kingdom in the islands when the Spaniards first came. They were slicing their noses off their face, just leaving the big hole in their face, the two holes without the actual nose. All right? And they would cut off one of their hands. All right, and that was to send a message to those who had ran away and were hiding, or they would do that to them if they didn't bring back enough gold. When they were making them dig for gold and things like that when they came to the islands. These were your Christians, your Catholics. This is one of the things they're doing, and if anyone wants to refute that, hey, you can't, because you can just go to the writings of Bartholomew de las Casas, all right, who was the eyewitness to these atrocities that were committed by Christopher Columbus and his men for 40 plus years. He lived among them. He was actually one of those men, all right, until he refused to do it, and he started writing about it. He was writing letters back and forth to the Pope, to the crown, to try to get them to stop doing these atrocities to these people, all right? And like I said, this was being done by so-called Christian men. "And those of you who are left will fall by the sword, and they will take away your sons and your daughters. And those of you who are left will be consumed by fire, and they will also strip you of your clothes and take your fine jewelry. So I will put a stop to this lewdness and prostitution you began in Egypt." And we always tell you that America is spiritual Egypt and Babylon and Rome, because that's when our people started cleaving onto these heathens and didn't want to separate from them. The Lord opened up the Red Sea and delivered them from it, and yet they still complained and still followed him not. That generation, that wicked generation that he let die off, and only the youth got to go into a small number. The same thing's getting ready to happen again, especially with these guys out here teaching all this false doctrine that the law is above Yahushua. And it's not. Yahushua is above the law. And that is in no way saying that you're not supposed to keep the law. Anyone saying that anyone from GMS says that is just a straight out liar. All right? It's a straight out liar. It says, "For this is what the sovereign Lord says, I am about to hand you over to those you hate, and to those you turned away, and to those you turned away from in disgust." All right, so the Lord has handed us over to our enemies, man, and the only way out is Yahushua. So with that, I hope this was a edifying and enlightening lesson, because what made me speak about it was a brother, I don't want to go into details, who came home and found his wife basically in bed with another man, and it broke my heart to hear it. And I've had that happen before. All right, and it's not a good feeling, but the Lord is going to redeem him. Call Halal Yahweh Bashim Havashai Bashim Rakakwadash. Wa ababa ball. Kwam Yasharala. Shalom.